Hi everyone, it's Crafty Tina's. Today's video is a new size and a new type book. This notebook is going to be 8.5 by 7. It's a very odd size for a reason, and I'll show you in just a second. We're using a very large wire. This is the 7/8" wire, and that's because we're packing this book full of fun things. So not only is it a new size for us, it's also the split wire. I already have the 8.5" split wire dimensions on my Crafty Tina's Cinch log, but we are adding a new feature to the log, and that is the 8" actual papers that are inside here. So for this book, it is going to include new pages. They're going to be available on my Facebook page. They're going to be in PDF format for you to download and print. Now this book is not finished on purpose. There is going to be stickers and decorations on the inside of this book, but that is going to come later because I haven't decided where this book is going yet. So this book is a card holder notebook. This is for you to put your greeting cards, birthday cards, anniversary cards, all of this kind of stuff, but to keep the cards in here so that you can see the inside of the card as well. These are a few cards I've made, so that's why there's nothing on the inside. I'm going to show you how to make these inserts so that you can put the card in and out. I have some suggestions on how to keep the card in here permanently. I had to make it larger because not every card you get is going to be the exact same size. So I left the book a little bit bigger, and I left these card holders a little bit larger too. Now, if you want them not to move around, my suggestion would be some double-sided adhesive and attach it so that you could still see the inside of the book, but it not move around, such as this. Also, you could either put a sticker top and bottom to keep it from going up and down if you did not want to attach it permanently. I believe if it was my book, I would want it attached permanently. This book would be great for someone having like a 50th wedding anniversary party or someone having a 40th birthday, kind of like a milestone, not really for your average everyday. But it would also be a good book to give for someone's birthday so they could put their cards received on that birthday in their book. So I've added 12 of these card holders, and these are just blank cards. I put them in here to make sure that the 7/8 binding was going to be appropriate. So there are 12 of these card holders. If you go with a larger wire, you can add more. Then I added a cardstock divider, and our new page is a notes page made specifically for this book. This book is larger than the note pages. Let me just fold it around to show you so that you have a small space all the way around. These note pages are going to be on my Facebook page, and they are 6 3/4 by 8". This book is 7 by 8.5. So that is the creation we are going to make today. I'm going to show you how you can make these very simple with your crocodile and your page cutter, but I'm also going to have on my Facebook page this. This is a cut file to make these if you don't want to manually cut them. So this is going to be in PDF version. I'm sorry, this is going to be in an SVG version for those of you that have a Silhouette, a Cricut, or a Brother Scan and Cut. If you have a Silhouette, just leave me a comment when I post this on the Facebook page, and I'll put the Silhouette file in there as well. For those of you that do not have a Silhouette, you will have to download this as a PDF, and then we do in Silhouette, we do a scan, we do a trace. I don't know what it's called in Cricut or in Brothers Scan and Cut, but if we traced this, then we would be able to cut this with their Silhouette. But this is in a Silhouette file and in an SVG file. Your pages are going to be in an SVG file. Now, there was a few things I wanted to change about this book, one being I had the dreaded flat wire. I haven't taken it out to correct it yet, but I will. That's another good thing about the split wire. If you make a mistake on part of it, you can just take it out. This one was perfect. I wasn't paying attention and didn't have it set right the first time for this one. So this is what happens when you don't double check your settings and you have it slightly off. Now this book is kind of bulky on purpose because it has to hold all of these cards. Now when you get store-bought cards, they're not going to be three-dimensional like the cards I make. These cards are very thick, but it will also hold like fancy cut cards to where it's not traditional. As long as it has a traditional binding inside, you will still be able to hold those cards. And then regular cards it will be able to hold, even if they are thick and bulky. Now I was going to just make pockets. I was just going to have pockets on some dividers, but then you can't see the card. You can't see the inside of the card. You would have to literally take it out every time, and at that point you might as well just get a photo album and pop these in it. If you want to actually sit and look at your cards, then this is the way to go. And I really do think the best solution for these being so loose, they won't fall out, by the way. I did test that theory. They don't fall out, they don't come out. I've tried shaking it different ways. The only thing is when you're looking through it, they're gonna move back and forth. So I think the best solution is some double-sided tape. Let it stick to the card, and you will still be able to view the inside as you flip through. It's just they won't be loose. Now if you get the same size cards or you get smaller cards, you can make these in any size. I'm going to show you exactly how to make them. So let's get started making this fun book. This was actually a request. Someone's getting married in August, one of my followers, and they wanted somewhere to put their wedding cards. This is a great idea for the wedding cards. I actually still have my wedding cards. I've been married over 30 years. I have them. They're not very many, and they're in a little box. And I think I'm going to pull them out, and I'm going to do something like this just to have them safe. Now, when your wire is bent, you will have all kinds of trouble opening and closing your book. You notice this never got stuck, but this one keeps getting stuck. I am going to fix this. I just wanted to show you that it happens. And the best way to get rid of this is just to pull the wires out and rebind it. So let's get started. Let's go over what you're going to need. Again, minimal supplies. It's just like any other notebook. You're going to go to if you want these pages, you're going to go to my Facebook page and download them for free. They are not folded because I can't take a regular piece of paper and fold it to be this exact size. Now this size is 6 3/4 by 8. So this is going to print on a piece of paper like this, and you're simply going to cut off the 1/2 inch, and then you're going to cut it to 6 3/4. This is what I do with my scrap paper. I make sure my holes can be properly cut. I printed 12. You can decide based on how thick your book is, based on the size of your wire. I went with the largest wire that I have, and that's the 7/8. If you're curious as to how many pages your wires will hold, I have a video showing how to make this. It's very easy to use. You simply lay it next to your book and decide how big your wires should be. I am going to probably get a 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. I'll probably just go 1 1/4 because I think that's the limit. I'm also going to get some smaller ones because I want to make some little tiny things too. But right now these are the 4 sizes I have, and they have been very versatile. I've been able to make all kinds of stuff with all 4 sizes. So once you have your notes printed and cut 6 3/4 by 8, then you are going to need 2 pieces of cardstock cut at the same size, 6 3/4 by 8, 2 of them. You're going to need strips to make your card holders, and I have made these 2 1/2, and they're 8 1/2. Now, I was going to make these smaller, but when you're using your machine and you really want to use the slider to butt your paper up against, anything less than 2 1/2 was going to be too small, and it went past the slider from the top. So I chose 2 1/2 on purpose. It does make a good size, but I did it so that it's easier to punch the holes and line them up. I have 12 of these. Then you're going to need your cover. Now you've seen in my other videos where I've taken chipboard glued it to a piece of cardstock, clipped the corners, and that's how far I got here so I could show you the rest. But this is the result. It comes out with a piece of chipboard covered in a piece of scrapbook paper or cardstock. You're going to fold the edges around, which I'm going to show you, and then you're going to attach an inside piece slightly smaller than the chipboard itself. The front piece is 1 inch bigger than the chipboard itself so that you have the extra edges to wrap around. So I've already made one cover to get us started. Let's make the other cover, and then I'm going to show you how to make your card holders the easy way using a crocodile and your paper cutter. I'm also going to show you how to make a guide to make it twice as fast. You're going to measure once, and then all you have to do is mark your little dot, punch, and cut. So let's make the cover first. Get that done. For this, we're going to use double-sided adhesive. We're using my Scotch Advanced Tape Glider. This is squeaky. All I did was put the chipboard on the paper and clip the corners. That is the only step you're missing. I have a lot of videos showing that every single time I make it. So I wanted this video to show more of the inside process than making the cover. We're just going to add double-sided adhesive to all 4 sides and fold them over. We're using the tape gun to make it easier, but you can also use Mod Podge or glue. The best part of this book is it is so easy to personalize, so easy to make in any theme. If you are gifting this to someone for their birthday, if you used wrapping paper for your birthday present, you could use wrapping paper to make your covers for your birthday book. Especially if it's a themed birthday, like if it's a kid's birthday and they have a character theme, you can take that same wrapping paper and make them a notebook to hold their cards. We're just going to add double-sided adhesive to all 4 sides of our inside page. We're going to add it with squeaky. I'm going to add some extra here just to make sure it's nice and flat. We're going to add this just by eyeballing it right into the center and press down. And I like to give it a good rub to make sure that it's all the way stuck, no air bubbles, nothing popping up. So this is the front of my cover, and this is the back of my cover. So I'm going to put it like it would be into the book and set it to the side. The next thing I want to show you is how to make these, and I've already made all of them so you don't have to be bored to death watching them, but I did keep 2 of them so I can show you how to make them. You're going to take your strip that is 2.5 by 8.5. First thing you're going to do is you're going to make yourself a guide. You're going to take the same size, 2.5 by 8.5, and you're going to use your ruler. Let me dig mine out. You are going to go 1 inch in from the left side and draw a line all the way down. Straight down. Then you are going to go in 1/2 inch and draw a line all the way across. So this is 1 inch and 1/2 inch. And where that line crosses, you are going to use your crocodile and punch the hole. You can see in that little, you can see the line inside the hole of the crocodile. So where the cross was, I simply punched a hole. And I did that for both ends. You can see through the little circle. And I did use the 3/16 size to punch the hole. You could punch the hole smaller if you wanted to. You could use the 1/8 inch size. It's a much smaller hole. I'm going to punch it here so you can see the difference. If you would prefer a smaller one, you can. Now that I have this guide, I can mark my insert that I'm using for this book. I simply placed it on top, and because my color for these are so dark, I'm using a white marker It's actually a chalkboard marker. I was going to grab a white pencil, but I saw this. And all I have to do is put me a dot right there. And then I'm going to come around on the other side and make sure my paper is nice and perfect. And put another white dot right there. This allows me to have 2 white dots so that I can see them. Then I'm going to punch them with my crocodile. And I'm going to try to let you see. Trust me, there's a white dot inside that little circle. And I'm going to do the other side. And you can see this white dot in the circle really well. I know it's very hard for the camera to see it, but it is not difficult to see. Now I have 2 dots, 1 inch from the side and a 1/2 inch down. Now I want to cut the slit. Now for the book I did the slit a little too big. I think it gave it too much play. It still works perfectly fine. So these I tried to do a little smaller. Now this is the Works board from We Are Memory Keepers. It has all these extra features. I'm using it today because of this type of blade. It's this little pointy blade that you can move up and down, and it opens and closes. My normal cutting blade is a Fisker rotary blade, so it wouldn't work well for what I'm about to show you. So I am going to try to come down lower so that you can see. I want to put my circle with the channel that the blade goes into, and on this board it goes right on the left side of the teal. I want it to be on the left side of the circle with a little bit of the white showing. And I want to do that on the top and on the bottom. I'm sorry about the camera shaking. So I have a little bit of white on top and bottom, and I try to get about equal amounts on the top and the bottom. I want to close this with my blade being somewhere in between this hole and this hole. Push down. As soon as you feel that it stopped cutting because it's in the circle, stop. And then go. You can hear and feel it. So now I have a cut mark from circle to circle. Now I want to cut another one. I want to do the exact same thing. I want to see a little bit of the white in each circle. I want my blade to be in between the circle and the circle. Close. And that time I didn't hear anything because I did not do it far enough. So I'm going to do a little less white, and I'm going to do it again. And that time, I heard. And you're basically cutting out a small sliver of cardstock. You don't have to cut out the double lines. You can just cut one. The card will still fit in there, but it will be snug, and it may not fold as well. So cutting out a sliver is the best opportunity. And now I have my divider. You can do these 3 at a time. You can stack up 3 and cut them 3 at a time. You can also punch them 3 at a time. And that saves you some time. So let's do it one more time. That's why I saved 2. I've lost the white pen. So we will just go with the blue one. It's right here. I'm telling you guys, it is so hard to reach around a camera to do this. I line up my paper with my little guide on top, and I want to put my little white dot on the center. And again, this does not have to be perfect. It will work no matter if you're off slightly. Then I remove my guide, and I have 2 holes. And I'm going to punch them using the 3/16. don't know if you guys can see that little white, but it does punch out the little white whole circle. Line up the white again and punch. Now I have my 2 holes. I'm gonna open my cutter. You basically want to cut one line on this side of the circle, and then when you flip it around, you're gonna be cutting it on this side. I just want a little bit of the white to show. I'm gonna press down, cut till it gets to the circle. You can feel it and hear it. You guys might not be able to hear it because I have the fan on. And then when I flip it around, I want just a little bit of the white. And you can see the cut line, so you can make sure you are going to get a little sliver of paper cut out. Then I press down, and I have a little sliver of paper cut out. And that is super easy, but if you don't want to do it this way, you can download and cut it out on your machine. Just remember, this is 8.5, so you're going to only get 3 out of a sheet of 8.5 by 11. If you cut these yourself, you are going to get 4. So you're going to save paper because this won't fit down here, and you can't fit 4 across. You could fit 4 across here, but you can't cut off the paper. So it just depends on if you would prefer the machine to cut it or if you would prefer to cut it yourself. So now that we have all of our little card holders, we can assemble our book. Now let's go back and pick up everything we've set to the side. We need our covers. We need our pages. We need our 2 pieces of cardstock. And we need all of our card holders. Now, you are going to want to put them all in the same order with the 1 inch on this side and the 1.5 inch on this side. The holes are going to be punched on the 1 inch side, so the smaller piece gets the holes. So, we have cardstock and our note paper that are a different size than our cover and our card holders. So we are going to make sure we use the guide to show us how to set the machine and do 5 wires and 5 wires. Let's start with the covers and the card holders. These are 8.5, and we want to put 5 and 5. So we simply go to our book, our log. If our book is 8.5, where the wires go, and it is, both of these are 8.5, we're doing 5 wires and 5 wires, which we are. Then we need to set our slider at 1 1/4, and I've highlighted these so that you could follow along. There are going to be additions to the Cinch log coming soon. I've added a few extra things, so I will be updating this probably within next week. We needed to set our machine at 4 1/4, so our slider, that's this thing right here, gets set at 1 1/4. We need to push pegs 1 through 5, and we need to pull pegs 6 through 12. Now we're ready to punch, and because it's my covers and I don't want to go through all this work again, I double check. 1 1/4, push in 1 through 5, pull out 6 through 12. I will even sometimes with my little ruler thing here, just double check. Okay, yes, I am 8.5. That's what I'm doing. For me, I start with face down. It's just something that I've told myself to do to keep straight. Once you punch, then you flip and punch again, because we are using the split wire technique, and that's the bottom part of my log. If I was using a full piece here, I do not use this section. I use a different 8.5 section. If I was using a 16 hole, 16 wire, I would come up here and use this measurement, not this one. Now we have 5 and 5, and they have the exact gap top and bottom. That's the whole point of the slider, is to make sure your holes are centered. But remember, our pages are not as big as this notebook. So I need my pages to be punched in the exact spot to keep the same amount on the top and the same amount on the bottom. So that's why these have a different setting than these. These are 8 inches where the wire goes, and these are 8.5. So let's punch all of these, and it can punch 4 or 5 at a time, so let's just do 4 at a time. Remember, we are wanting to punch on the small side, not the large one. So I'm going to put them face down with the small side getting punched. And again, the reason I chose 2.5 inches is so there would be a small piece still touching the slider. We are still doing an 8.5, so no settings have been changed. Punch and flip. Punch. And now this will go into our binder perfectly with the same amount of space on the top and the bottom. So let's do 4 more. We're going to do it on the little side, the 1-inch side. It goes all the way in and all the way to the left, touching the slider guide. Punch and flip. And punch. And now let's do the last 4. Small side, all the way in, all the way this way, and all the way to the left to butt it up against the slider. Punch and flip. And now we have our covers, front and back, punched, and we have our card holders punched. Now we're going to set these to the side, and we're going to punch these. These are not 8.5, they are 8 inches. We did not have a measurement on here to do the split wire for the 8-inch, so I'm adding that. So now for the 8-inch, and that is the side with the wire, 8-inch, which is what ours is, we're wanting a 5 and 5 wire, just like our original notebook. The slider goes to 1 inch. That means it gets pushed all the way in, and it lines up with the 1 inch. We want to pull out 1 through 5 and push in 6 through 12. 12 pages and 2 pieces of cardstock should be nothing for this to handle. Let's give it a try. I'm going to do face down. See? Easy peasy. Flip and punch. Now, my note pages are double-sided, which is a first for me. Usually I fold my pages, and I have 2 pieces of cardstock. So now let's put our book together using the wire. First thing we want to do is we want to put it in order so that the seam is on the inside of the book and not the outside. See, there's nothing here but these loops. There's a seam that is created when the 2 wire ends meet. That is what you want on the inside back cover of your book. And I'm going to show you how to stack the items so that that seam is not showing. We need to cut our wire. This is what it comes in. It comes in a full sheet or full sleeve, and this is so that you can do an entire 11-inch paper. I want to do 5 and 5, so I'm going to cut it apart. The only reason I'm having to cut it is I don't have any blue pieces left. Save your pieces when you're doing full pieces. You sometimes have 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 6. Save these pieces to do split wires, and you will really be cost saving for your craft. I'm simply going to count 5 wires, and I'm going to cut the wire that's holding this loop to this loop. I'm going to do the same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to cut the wire that's holding the 5th one. And now I have this. I can make a small book. I can make another split wire. There's so many options, guys. So when you buy a pack of 100 wires, don't think 100 notebooks is all you're going to get out of it, because I have gotten a ton of notebooks. I have not ran out of wires yet. We are going to hang this on the side. And because I don't quite know where to put this one yet, I'm going to hang on to it. The very first thing you start with is the inside of your book. Now the inside of our book is going to have notes on the bottom. Then it is going to have a piece of cardstock, which I'm going to decorate. Then it will have the 12 cards. So here's the 12 card holder. And then it will have another divider. I chose to make my cardstock the size of my note paper. You could choose to make your cardstock the size of your card holders. It is entirely up to you. So this is what I need to put on the wire. So I'm going to put this on first so that I can tell where to hang my wire. See how easy that is? Now I'm going to put my cardstock. I'm going to put my 12 card holders, and then I'm going to put my cardstock. This is everything within the book except the covers. You want it in the exact order that you want the book to be in. Nothing upside down, nothing backwards, and in the same order. You may want your notes first, you may want them last, but this is the order that the book is going to be in. The next thing I want to do is my cover. Face up, I want to put my cover on. And because I want the seam to be in the back, I am now going to put the back cover on, but it is going to be back outside facing front outside. I'm putting these two together. What I want to be up looking at me is the inside of my cover. Whatever this is going to be is what's going to face me, and that is so that the seam will be inside this back cover. And now I'm ready to cinch. We're going to turn the machine around. Now here's the important part. This is a 7/8 inch wire. My machine needs to be set to 7/8 inches. The problem is you really question yourself about where this little thing needs to go. If in doubt, go larger than smaller. Smaller is what's going to get. Smaller and not putting it all the way to the bag is going to get you a flat side to your wire, and that's going to ruin your wire. So it is always better to go slightly larger than to go slightly smaller. So I am putting this little point is pointing at the 8 on the 7/8. It is, that may be right in the center, but I don't want to take a chance. I'm going to go just slightly larger than 7/8. Now I want to bind these separately. I'm going to bind the right, this and this. These two pieces have to go against the back wall, flush all the way. And you're going to hold it there using your book and putting a little bit of tension to hold them there. And cinch. That didn't sound good. One of the wires got caught. I'm simply going to bend that at a later date. I don't want to bend it with my wire cutters, but we're going to bend that. I'm probably just going to redo that wire because it will bug me that it's not perfect. I felt it catch and I shouldn't have closed it. So now let's close the other side. And this time, instead of looking at the camera, I'm going to bend down and look. All my wires are in there securely. I'm going to hold them with my book and cinch. and see what happens when you actually look at what you're doing and paying attention. Make sure you bend down and look inside here, because from here everything looked fine. But now I have one wire that's not cooperating. I'm simply going to go get the actual pliers and bend this back. Maybe I can do it like this. There, that's pretty good. I don't mind accidents. It's a craft. It's going to happen. If I determine it doesn't like me and it's causing me problems, I will remove the wire and put another piece in. I am still in the learning stage myself with this machine, so I don't mind accidents because that will help me remember what not to do next time. So now I have what seems to be a super skinny book with a lot of big wires. But once you start adding cards to this book, it starts getting thicker. So now you have a place to add 12 cards. And these cards can range from very decorative thick ones to store-bought printed versions. They're super easy to get in and out, but they don't fall in and out. And to put it in, all you do is slide it through the slot. And now you have a card. Most of the time you're going to get store-bought cards. They're not going to have a lot of stuff on them. So you can probably put more cards in here than 12. I was just trying to see how many thick cards I could get in here, and that's why I stopped at 12. But as you fill up your book, it's going to get thicker and thicker, and that's why I did the 7/8. Had I had the 1-inch binding wire, I probably would have went ahead and did the 1-inch. Now, as you can see, that little oops didn't really affect anything. My wires are still nice and round, and my book is still very functional. So this needs to be decorated along with this front cover. If this is going to be a birthday book, not a graduation book, then I would put some birthday stickers in here, some cutouts. You could put pockets so you could add other things. The reason for the notes in the back was actually a very good suggestion from a coworker of mine. She said, if you're going to make this into a baby shower book, why not have a place for notes so that you can write down what you received so that you can go back later and thank the person and know what they actually gifted you. I thought that was a great idea. Even for a birthday party, sometimes you forget what someone's given you or who gave you what. You might want to make notes of where your birthday was, who all came. This would be a great journal, great section for you to actually write down your thoughts and memories of the actual event that took place. So this would make a great baby shower, wedding, special birthday, or even a kid's birthday, especially if you wrapped this in wrapping paper with the theme to the party. Then they're going to remember this for a long time. I just used some school paper on this one with some little funky colored insides. But there's a lot of places in here to personalize. There's a lot of ways to make this nicer. If you have corner hole punches, you could make your edges round instead of square. That would give it more character as well. If you wanted this to be a book for a young child who you know is going to be very rough, you could put clear vinyl over the top of your cardstock before you did all of your punching, and these actual card holders would be very durable. So there's a lot of room for improvement. I'm going to call this version 1 because I think there are other ways I can make this book and make it better. So there'll always be room for a version 2. So if you like this video, please comment below, like, and subscribe. When you subscribe, YouTube will let you know when my next video comes out. I don't have a preview on my next one because it's not quite finished yet, but there is more videos coming. So guys, check out my Facebook page. It will be in the description. That's where you're going to get the printouts for all of my books. They're actually PDFs, and you'll find them in the file section on my Facebook page. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, guys, happy crafting.